I'll just leave it at that. He's a little conflicted. The novel should be out by Christmas. You'll figure out what's wrong with it. If you came by and you looked at my new poster over there, you'll see that I've included the fact that I am a poet. Debatable. Debatable if it's a fact yet. I'm going to let you decide. I'm going to read for you a poem called WTC. It was inspired, a friend of mine named Lieutenant Phil Panzarella was the CO of the Queens Homicide Squad. And when I was in Queens and nobody would touch me with a 10-foot pole, Phil had an 11-foot pole. He took me under his wing and he took care of me. My last conversation with him was at an Honor Legion event a couple of months ago, and he had beaten 9/11 related cancer for the 4th time. And he's resolute about it. He said, yeah, I beat it. The doctor says I'm cancer free, but that's a temporary thing. I expected it to come back. And he was right. It came back with a vengeance and it killed him. But what he said to me that night that stuck with me was, it didn't bother him so much the pain, you know, the agony of having to go through chemotherapy so often, you know, the toll it took on his body. What bothered him is it seemed that there were a whole generation of Americans that not only didn't appreciate the sacrifices that he and the rest of us as first responders to 9/11 made, they just flat didn't care. And he said it kind of made him feel a little worthless. And it was one of the reasons why he continued to go, even feeling as sick as he was, going to events like the Honor Legion and retirement parties and things like that. Unfortunately, his cancer came back, and I didn't get a heads up about it until I heard about his weight. Interestingly enough, the week that he died was the same week that a certain congresswoman from Minnesota referred to 9/11 as some people did something. So naturally, I was perturbed. So I wrote this poem, and you can listen to it now, and you can decide whether or not I have to white out the poet tonight, son. An annual trek, once enjoyed as an opportunity to see old friends and reminisce. Now dreaded, so many are gone, disappearing a half a hundred a year and accelerated. The antiseptic aroma of the waiting room battles the underlying smell of fear. Despair is winning each year by a wider margin. The sense of inevitability looms. If it is not yet your turn, there's no escaping the fact it's coming. Remembering the toxic air, sifting for friends in the contaminated ruins, not realizing they were there in every handful, pulverized and moldering within it. They called it a rescue, but the only thing escaping this hell was a broken nation's sense of itself. Recalling the adulation, misplaced, the shame burning within you. You thought your sacrifice paled when lay next to that of the fallen. You couldn't realize then it was the same, only delayed. Who imagined cancer would have so many names? Zadroga, Waterman, Panzarella, Roman, Alvarez, ad infinitum. We are going now, murdered in fact. Soon enough we will be none. Never forget a once grateful nation promised, now unabashedly replaced with some people did something, as if that told the story, the one no one wanted to hear anymore. The nurse calls your name. When the foul diagnosis comes, you know it will be without emotion. The doctor can't hide his ambivalence. The deliverer of calamity, it's just his job. It is the sound of dismissal, of being forsaken, on the short path to being forgotten. Still can't get through that without stuff now. So what he said is, the poet stay on the poster?
Yes.
Okay. I got nothing else. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be here and to have all of my friends and my neighbors and my colleagues and fellow writers around me. I will tell you this, none of this would have been possible or would have ever gotten off the ground but for my wife, Janet. She's been my muse, my inspiration, my business agent, and my stern kick in the ass when I needed it throughout this whole thing. As a matter of fact, when I retired, I retired kind of abruptly. I didn't want to go, I got hurt. They weren't going to let me play cops and robbers anymore. So for the first 2 years or so, I kept threatening to write a book. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to make it a novel. I'm going to make it about this and make it about this. And finally, Janet got tired of it. She went and bought me a laptop, threw it at me, and said, just write the goddamn thing already. And Shot to Pieces was born 2 years later. So I kind of liked it. It was a fun experience, torturous experience, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. None of that, obviously, would have been possible without her firm nudge and her guidance throughout. So, again, thank you to everyone else, but a special thanks to Janet. I dropped the mic now, but it's not mine.